Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Ace the Cat series. I am Danilo, and here we have Brinda, Kshitij, Rib, Shubham, and Saurabh. In our earlier videos, we have covered the VARC, TILR, and QA sections of the exam. With a week remaining for CAT, we, the students of IIM Nagpur, would share our tips for utilizing your last week of preparations effectively. So without any further ado, let's get started. Let's get the ideas rolling. What was your last minute preparation strategy?
So my last minute strategy was to focus more on the sections and not try to learn anything new at this point of time. So what I used to do was that take only sectional tests towards the end and then see my performance in those sections. I would see what kind of questions were taking more time for me and what kind of questions I was able to solve more quickly. So by doing this repetitively, I could formulate a strategy for me and understand what kind of questions I was able to solve quickly and maximize my score. So this helped me in DILR as well as the quant sections, and therefore it helped me gain those extra few marks, which really made a difference towards my final percentile.
Excellent point, Shubham. Adding to it, during my last days of preparation, I selected those topics which I was more comfortable with rather than focusing on all the topics. Even on the day of exam, with the question paper on the screen, I did not try to solve each and every question. Rather, I spent 3 to 4 minutes scanning each section and selecting questions from my area of expertise. Secondly, time management, which is an essential ingredient to crack the CAT examination and make it to your dream college. Managing one times include balancing speed with accuracy, handling the pressure and uncertainty, and the apt decision making with respect to how many questions are yet to be attempted in reference with time.
Great point, Kshitij. I would like to tell my experience and what I had done in the last week of the CAT and on the exam day. According to me, it is very important that your mind should work in the best way in the 2 to 3 hours of the exam. For that, you have to set your mind accordingly by creating the exam day before the exam. For example, you have paper on 28th and that too in the first lot. But in the last 1 year, your habit is to study at the night and wake up late in the morning. So what will happen in the exam day? It will be very difficult for you to wake up early in the morning and give your best in that exam. This was the problem for me as well. I was used to study in the night and woke up late in the morning. But then the admit card came and my slot was 8:30. Then the first thing I did was I acquainted my schedule with the timeline of the exam. I started waking up at 5:30 and usually sit before the laptop at 7:30 to give the mock. So in this way I created the exam day before the exam day. So by doing this I was very confident when I was giving the CAT exam.
Yes, that's a very important point, Saurabh. And also, what I did was that I devised all the QA formulas, tips, and the shortcuts thoroughly at least once. And while it was mentioned right now that try as many mocks as possible, but for some people, I believe it can actually increase pressure and anxiety, like it did for me. And in that case, I would recommend you to take maximum 1 or 2 mocks, because if in the last ending mocks, if you do not score well, it'll actually demotivate you, and you really don't want to get demotivated 2 days before the examination. In fact, for what I did, I actually attempted the easiest mock as my last mock, to that, and that actually boosted my confidence.
Those were some great tips, guys. Listening to your experiences reminded me of those hectic 7 days before the exam. The final week presented several challenges, out of which stress and anxiety are surely at the top of everyone's list. Can you guys brief us on how we should strengthen our mental health?
Well, I am somebody who has a lot of test anxiety and jitters. And with only just a week remaining for the exam, it used to get worse. So, but then what I figured out and what worked for me actually was to firstly understand that the more we let this jitters and anxiety get to us, the more it might impact the performance on the actual day of the exam. So, and this is where I guess my hobbies and my interests came to rescue. Pursuing something which I have an affinity for. It could be playing badminton or just mandala or listening to music or watching a series, web series, or anything. So basically, something dedicating my time out of the academics to something which I like doing. So that really helped me out. So firstly, it helped me with the anxiety issues and also with the burnout issue, which a lot of us face during this time. And also secondly, realizing the mock results which a lot of us take at heart and feel sad about or get depressed from, like just to not compare our results with anybody out there and not making any sorts of assumptions as to how we are going to perform on the actual day of the exam. So these are the few things which really helped me sail through.
Those are some insightful points, Brinda. I remember playing basketball just to clear my head and stay refreshed. Taking breaks once in a while is something all the aspirants should do. Kshitij, how was your experience in dealing with stress in the final week?
There's no denying that during the last week the stress is high, but I would like to iterate the point that though the pressure is high, it is necessary to avoid overthinking scenarios, as I myself, being an overthinker, have gone through the peril of imagining scenarios of what could happen if the exam didn't go as planned. So if you are an overthinker, I would advise you to practice 5 to 10 minutes of meditation, as it really, really helped me out to get a hold of my nerves.
You're right, Kshitij. Overthinking is definitely something we should avoid doing. So any final messages for the upcoming aspirants?
Yes. So one common mistake that I realize a lot of us make, including me, is thinking that just because we have made less number of attempts, we have actually performed bad. But what we don't realize is that maybe this year the difficulty level was actually set higher and the number of questions you attempted was actually very good. So this is something we have to keep in mind and make sure that our previous performance does not affect our future performance in the other sections. And that's a very important thing for us to remember and power through to the rest of the paper.
Great point, Shubham. Definitely, performance in one section should not affect the performance in other sections, as in each section the time slot is fixed and you should manage the time effectively according to the section. Time is the constraint before the paper as well, and I would like to take your attention to that as well, because we generally ignore that time constraint. Since you have to report almost 1 hour before the exam, it is better to take at least half an hour buffer. And when you are sitting in front of the desktop, just revise the plan which you have made for the exam, because sometime in the exam pressure you just start the paper and forgot what strategy you have made for attempting the question. So it is better to recall the strategy and try to focus on your strong points, so that in that 2 hour exam you will not get distracted and you will give your best in the paper.
Finally, I guess, believing that this is just an exam and not the end of the world, and believing in your preparations and staying calm and confident can definitely help one sail through the exam.
Having said that, I think a few pointers which I have been suggested by my seniors and for the last few days, and which actually worked out for me. So first was not to take rest or sleep during the time slot in which we had a cat in. So we try to do something that keeps our mind focused during those 3 hours, and so that we can have a maximum focus on a D-Day. Also, it was as it was mentioned in the session earlier, it's very important to take care of our health and not fall sick in the last few days. And cat is conducting during the winters, and we tend to fall sick at this time of the year. So I try to stay extra cautious. And my last point, I think, would be the most important one. I made sure that I had a good night's sleep before the examination. It is very important in order to be able to concentrate during the test. So yeah, I think be confident and all the very best to you.
With that, we have reached the ending of this video. We hope that the aspirants use your experience to ace the CAT. We will be back next year to guide you throughout the process till you achieve your dream B school. Do watch the earlier episodes from this series if you haven't yet. It will surely help in answering your doubts and queries. We would like to wish you all the very best for CAT 2021. We are waiting to see you guys here in IIM Nagpur. Till then, take care and stay tuned.